Hey there, MRA, my Real Africanist. This is Marie Ya Jouf, your Real Africanist, and welcome to my channel, right? If you have been here before, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, thank you so very much for coming. All right. So we just ended Black History Month, and now it's Women's History Month, right? I know, right? They keep coming. But as an African family, we still have so much to commemorate and celebrate as it pertains to the African or the Black woman, okay? Because we all know that the African woman is the mother of all civilization. And that's not just according to me, that's according to scientific evidence, right? That's according to the fact that the oldest fossils in the world have been discovered in East Africa and Ethiopia, right? Along what they call the Eastern African Rift Valley, I believe, right? So those fossils go back millions and millions of years ago, okay? So I just want to give a shout out to the bold, right? The beautiful, the smart, the intelligent, the brave, and the bountiful. You know, ain't nothing like a Black woman, right? Black women of history and of the current world, right? I want to show my love and respect to the African Black women who have played an important role in African history and those who continue to play an important role in African affairs today, right? I like to remind the world whenever possible, right, that Black women have stood proud right alongside their male counterparts in the struggle for Black liberation, right? So not in front of them, fellas. So don't get mad, because you know how the fellas, they can go in, right? Not in front of you all, not behind you all either, right? But right beside you, hand in hand, like it's supposed to be, okay? That's why we have to stop letting those on the outside, and we have to stop letting those on the inside, right, among our own people, to divide us over issues, right, that are petty and that historically have been created just to divide us, right? The Black man and the Black woman, we are a team, right? And we need each other. We need each other to survive. We need each other to be our best at fighting this liberation struggle, right? And we need each other to reach our highest potential, right? So we have to be wiser and smarter, and we have to quit, like I say, bickering, right? And cutting each other down over issues that were deliberately set in motion to divide us, right? We both have caught the brunt of suppression and oppression. So again, we have to stick together and we have to be strong as we move forward. Okay, so I would like to give a big love and respect to. So I have this list that I'm gonna go through, right? And I hope it, I don't take too long, but I have to give love and respect and honor to the women, right? And to whom it is due. Okay. So first, I want to start with Queen Ya Asantewaa, right? And I think we all know who Queen Asantewaa was, right? She was, like I say, a queen of the Ashanti Kingdom, and she led African resistance against the British, right? To not only protect the Ashanti Kingdom, but also to protect the sacred golden stool, right? Which was very important to the Ashanti Kingdom, okay? I have heard it said that she said, right, look, if you men, if you won't go to battle, I will call all of my women, right? And we will go to the battlefield and we will fight and fight and fight until the last one is finished, right? So, sounds like a black woman to me. What you think? Now, fellas, again, I'm not saying that you didn't fight or that you wouldn't fight, right? But I'm just giving the queen her just due. This is what they said she said, okay? So, big shout out to Queen Asantewaa, right? Also, next on the list is Queen and military powerhouse Amina, right? Of the Hausa Kingdom, right? Of Nigeria. From what history tells, right? Queen Amina was also a force to be reckoned with. She and her brother, right? I think they fought side by side in some military excursions, right? And she, I think, well, history says that, you know, that was her thing, right? Fighting. Basically, you know, getting the job done, okay? So we're just going to leave it at that. So big shout out to Queen Amina of Nigeria, right? Also, we want to give a shout out to Queen Njinga or Queen Zinga, however you want to pronounce it, of Angola. I believe everybody has heard of Queen Zinga of Angola, right? She waged war against the Portuguese, right? She put it down. And it's a story. I can't remember all the details of the story, but somehow the Portuguese was trying to disrespect her and her cohorts, right? Those in her under her rule, right? They got down on their knees and allowed her to sit down, right? They positioned themselves like they were chairs so that she could sit down, because it was something that the Portuguese was doing to try to disrespect her, and they just were letting the Portuguese know, look, we got our sisters back, right? We riding with her. So big ups to Queen Nzinga of Angola, right? It was a movie that our sister Jada Pinkett, I think, produced or something like that about Queen Nzinga. I really didn't like that movie. It was kind of, you know, cheesy to me, but you know how it goes. You know how it goes, right? So anyway, also I want to give shout out to the powerful black Egyptian queens, right? The Kemetic queens, Queen Tai or Tai, Queen Nefertari, right? And Queen Hatshepsut, right? So from what I understand, Queen Hatshepsut, well, history shows, not from what I understand, right? History shows that she was also a very dominant, very disciplined, and very powerful queen, right? Who oversaw a massive building and construction process for Kemet, right? It is said that on her personal portraits and statues that she did this herself, that she had herself, painted or drawn in, wearing male clothing, and I guess a fake beard attached to symbolize, her power or her position in Kemet, right? But it's also said that her predecessor, or those that came after her, actually kind of had her written out of history for whatever reason. It might have been for that reason, right? I don't know. But the point was that I think she was trying to make was that she was just as capable of ruling, and governing as her male counterparts, right? Yeah, and then I think I said her male predecessors had her written out of history, but her male successors had her written out of history, okay? Also, I want to give a shout out to Ethiopian empresses, and not one, but empresses, right? Meaning as far, Empress Zuditu, right? Zewditu. I know I'm gonna mess up some of these names, but it's Zawaditu. I think that's what it is. And Empress Zatu, right? Tatu. I'm screwing it up, but Empress Tatu, right? That's her name. And she was the wife of Menelik II, right? And she actually tore up a treaty, the Treaty of Wuchale, right? And this treaty was supposed to, cement trade relations and good relations between Italy and Ethiopia, right? But look, this treaty, and this happened a lot on the continent, right? I had to sit up for this. This happened a lot on the continent. This treaty was written in 2 different languages, okay? Now, the treaty was written in the Italian language and also in the Amharic language, which is an Ethiopian Semitic language, right? However, the one that was written in the Italian language would have made Ethiopia a protectorate under Italy, basically meaning Italy would have been in control, right? But the one that was written in the Amharic language would not have, right? So they kind of did the, old switcheroo, right? Like the Native Americans said, they speak with a forked tongue, okay? So the Empress Tatu, she called the game, right? She peeped the game, right? And she saw what was happening, so she actually tore it up, right? She tore the treaty up, and that was one of the things that led to the first battle of Ottawa, right? Where the Italians, right, got themselves served up real good on a platter, right? Right? The Ethiopians put it down, okay? And it was also said that Empress Tatu actually marched to battle alongside Emperor Menelik II, right? She actually marched to battle, right, with them. So big ups to Empress Tatu and the other Ethiopian empresses, okay? Also, next, I'm going to take you over to Jamaica, right? And we want to give big ups and a shout out. Shero's shout out, right, to military strategist Nanny Maroon of Jamaica, right? It's said that Nanny Maroon may have come from Ghana, right? Also from the Ashanti Kingdom. I don't think we know for sure, but it is said that that's where she came from, right? And that she was a leader in the fight against the British in Jamaica, right? She was putting it down in Jamaica. She also helped to rescue many people Black Jamaicans that were enslaved, right? So she went back and forth rescuing those that were enslaved, right? And we know over time the British just kind of threw their hands up. I think they signed some kind of treaty or something like that as well, and the Maroons end up, having their own land and basically, their own independent area, okay? But eventually, Nanny Maroon was apprehended and she was killed, right? Unfortunately. But big shout out to our sister Nanny Maroon, okay? Now we're going to bring it on up to today, right? And I want to talk about a few of the leaders, women leaders in Africa today, okay? So I want to give, show some love and respect to Madam President Salih Zewde. That's how you pronounce her name. She's the first she's the first woman president of Ethiopia, and she's also the current president of Ethiopia, right? She has served in so many high-level political positions within Ethiopia and within other international organizations, right? Again, I think her name is pronounced Salih Zewde, right? I'm quite sure I'm messing it up, but you can look it up. And I know if you remember back in September when Queen Elizabeth died, right? She was the one that refused to board the bus with the rest of the African leaders, right? She basically was like, look, I got my own car and my own security, and that's how I'm going to roll. And if I can't roll that way, then I'm not going, okay? So, and they relented, right? And she ended up going in her own car and, and doing her thing, right? So, you know how that go when when the queen speaks, you're going to do what you need to do or don't do nothing at all, okay? So, also, next we got Madam President Samia Suluhu Hassan, right? She is the current president of Tanzania, okay? She was vice president. She served as vice president under President Magufuli. And now she is the leader, the president of Tanzania, right? I know initially the citizens of Tanzania and of other African countries, and of course, the public, the general public, on social media, they at first seemed to have some apprehension about her, the role that she would play as the president of Tanzania, and the job that she would do. But seems like things have kind of mellowed out. It seems like she's doing some very positive and progressive things for Tanzania. I just read the other day where they launched some type of ship, right? Their own ship, which will allow a freer movement of goods, right, from Tanzania to other African countries, which is a very positive thing. So I'm going to read up on that a little bit more, or if you all know a little bit more about that, why don't you leave it in the comments, right? That would be something good to talk about, okay? So big shout out to President Samia Hassan, okay? Also, next we got Madam Vice President Jewel Taylor of Liberia, right? So, Madam Vice President Taylor, she was married to ex-Liberian President Charles Taylor, right? And I think we all know what happened under his leadership, right? A lot of civil war, and eventually he was, he resigned or was asked to step down, but I think he was actually imprisoned, right? After all of that happened, okay? But, I actually met Jewel Taylor, or Vice President Jewel Taylor, at an event here in the U.S., right? She was a guest of a couple who owns a community organization that I used to work for. And she was a guest at their home because she was trying to get African Americans to invest in Liberia's bottled water industry way back then. I mean, that had to be over about 10 years, 10 or 15 years back, right? But I remember that, and she seemed, she seemed like a nice lady, and she seemed like she was genuinely concerned about her country and doing positive things for her country. But what stuck with me, she talked a lot about, the foreigners who had invested in Liberia, or who actually was controlling the bottled water industry in Liberia, and just how much money that these foreign countries, these I think it was some European countries as well as Middle Eastern business were making off of bottled water in Liberia. And she wanted African Americans to invest in that industry, not only to help Liberia, but also to help African Americans, okay? Also, I want to go on next. Prime Minister of Namibia, Sarah Amadihila. I'm definitely not going to try to pronounce her other last name. It starts with a K, right? And I don't want to mess it up. But if you are from Namibia, then, or watching from Namibia, then you know who your prime minister is, and you know her name, right? And everybody else, you can kind of look it up, okay? She actually, from what I understand, she presented Namibia its first ever budget surplus, and this was back in 2000 and back in the early 2000s, okay? And she also attended Lincoln University in Pennsylvania here in the USA, right? I found that interesting, and that was the same school that Kwame Nkrumah and Azikiwe of Nigeria attended, right? But of course, that was before her time. But yeah, they attended the same school, okay? Also, I want to give a shout out to former president of Liberia, right? And the first woman modern day African president, okay? And I say modern day because we had African leaders, women leaders before her, but they were probably not called the president, right? We see in Ethiopia they were called the empress, and probably in other parts of Africa they were called something else, right? And she earned the name Iron Lady because she was no nonsense. She didn't play, right? And she had some controversy during her term as well in office, but she was best known for her no nonsense style of leadership. Okay. Then I want to give a shout out to Vice President of Malawi, Joyce Bandala, right? A former Vice President. Now I'm not really sure. I don't know a lot about Joyce Bandala. I know she only served 2 years, but I remember being excited to know that, there was a woman president of Malawi at that time, right? Yeah, I said former vice president, but I think she was actually the president, not vice president. I think she was the president, okay? And like I said, I'm not sure how Africans feel about President Joyce Bandala, but I just wanted to recognize her service, right? I've heard some pros and some cons, right? And I don't know if that's just because she was a woman or what the case may have been, right? But I just wanted to recognize her because she was in a leadership role, okay? So also I would like to recognize former interim president Catherine Samba-Panza of Central African Republic, right? Central African Republic, sorry. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the CAR, right? We don't hear a lot about that on this side of the waters, but I actually said that I was going to make it my business to study a little more and learn a little more about the CAR. But she was elected because of her neutrality and her honesty. And I think she came to power Evidently, there was some type of conflict going on between different ethnic groups when she came to power, but she was highly respected because, again, like you say, she was neutral, okay? She ran for president again in 2020, but unfortunately, she was not elected. So shout out to President Catherine Samba Panza of Central African Republic, okay? And then I wanted to give a shout out to the one and only, right, the incomparable ancestor, Mama Winnie Mandela, right? Our South African goddess, right, who bravely and boldly took on the racist system of apartheid, right, alongside her husband, Nelson Mandela. And, you know, even after Nelson Mandela, after Mandela, he wasn't president at the time, went to prison, right? You know, she held it down. And like we all know that Mama Winnie, she became a force of her own to be reckoned with, right? She was a phenomenal leader and a phenomenal lady, and may she continue to rest in peace with the ancestor, right? Two more South African powerhouses I want to shout out to, and that's Mamfela Ramapele, and I remember her from the movie Cry Freedom. She was portrayed in the movie Cry Freedom, right? And that was a movie about Stephen Biko, and she was actually the partner of our South African liberation brother, warrior, right? Steve Biko, right? The father of what they call black nationalists in South Africa, right? So Ramapele, she was also an anti-apartheid activist, right? And she also supported our brother Steve Biko during the apartheid movement, right? And also Mama Greca Michelle, right? If you don't know Greca Michelle, right? She was married to Samora Michelle of Mozambique, and she was also married to Nelson Mandela, okay? But she is a women's right activist or advocate. She's a politician, right? And she was also an anti-apartheid activist, very powerful and very influential in the movement against racism and beyond racism, right, in South Africa, okay? And also just, you know, all the other phenomenal African women leaders, those that I didn't name, right? I know it's many, many more. So like I said, if you know any more that I didn't put on the list, please put them down in the comment, right? So that those who engage with the channel can know the history of these phenomenal women and the role that they played in African history, right? So also, I want to give a shout out to some more women who are doing great things for Africa right now. And that's Dr. Arikana, Chihambori. Now, I know I'm going to mess her name, but Chihambori Kwao, right? But I just call her Dr. Arikana, okay? And she's the former AU ambassador to the U.S. She's a medical doctor. And she's also the founder of ADDI, the African Diaspora Development Institute. And she is doing big things across the African continent, right? Like I say, she's a powerhouse in herself, right? And I also had the blessing and the pleasure to meet Dr. Arikana in Rwanda, right? At the Guba 2022 awards, right? So that was definitely an honor and a pleasure, right? She's the real deal, okay? And also shout out to Denta Amoteng, right? She's a Ghanaian queen. She's actually the founder of the Guba Awards that I just mentioned, okay? And she's fabulous, right? She's an entrepreneur, and she's also the founder of the Odana Network. And She's just a public figure, a social influencer, and she's just dynamic. She does so much as well. Okay. Shout out to Teresa Clark, South African businesswoman and the founder of the online news site Africa.com, right? Teresa Clark, she's also, again, she's a phenomenal businesswoman, and she works very, very hard to, establish African companies, um, and to support African companies within the international business sector. Okay. Also, South African Minister of Foreign Relations. We've been seeing her on the scene lately, Dr. Naledi Pandor, right? She has proven to be a fierce spokesperson and leader on behalf of Africa on the world stage. I mean, I know you all have seen her. She was the spokesperson who talked about the Israel being removed from the AU forum last month, right? So again, she's very powerful, very direct, and she knows her stuff. So big shout out to Dr. Pandora, okay? And we also don't want to forget about another one of our queens from the Caribbean, and that's Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley, right? Mia Motley, she's the truth, right? She is the truth, right? I put a link in a video that I did a couple of days ago, and how she had to set this lady straight who was doing the interview and was asking, of course, how they always ask, so why is Africa not able to do this? Why are they struggling with this? And what about that, right? So she had to just, she said, you don't really want me to answer that, do you? And the lady said, yeah. And what did she say that for? Because, Prime Minister Motley, she put it down, right? She told him what was up. Basically, look, this how it go, okay? So again, if you want to watch that interview with her, I'll put the link again down at the bottom of this page, okay? And also, I want to give a shout out to some African American women warriors, a couple, like I say, I didn't take time to put all of them on the list, but it's plenty of them. Of course, throughout history, like you say, there's been Queen Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Fannie Lou Hamer, the Rosa Parks, but that's not all. The list goes on and on. Angela Davis, Kathleen Cleaver. The list goes on and on. But for today, Congressman Maxine Waters, she's been been in Congress a long time, fighting for African Americans, equality, right? And also Senator Sheila Lee Jackson. She's another one that, has a relationship with African countries, and she's been there a long time, okay? So I'm going to try to wrap this up because I went kind of long yesterday, and I want to kind of keep the videos, about a half an hour. I think that's a good time. What you all think? Because, I want to, keep you engaged. But I just want to give a shout out to some of the ladies fellow ladies that are on YouTube before I get out of here. So Lady Visionary, she's over there holding it down in Rwanda doing her thing, right? Lady Visionary, she just recently opened a library in Rwanda, and I'm quite sure she could still use your support. So, if you have a few pennies or something to spare, why don't you head on over to her channel and, throw her a few dimes, right? It's for a good cause, and, the proof is in the pudding. She's over there doing her thing in Rwanda. So thank you, Lady Visionary, for being steadfast and, and being a visionary and doing, assisting the Rwandan youth and the Rwandan people, okay? I want to say big ups to Miss Trudy Maya, our gorgeous, intelligent blogger, right? Miss Watamaya, right? But Miss Trudy is a starlet all her own, right? So thank you, Miss Trudy, for being so kind and humble, and and showing the world, how we should treat our parents. I love the way you treat your family, the elders in your family. Big shout out, Miss Trudy. Okay. Also Ashley in Africa, right? I think Ashley is in South Africa now. She was in Tanzania, but I think she's in South Africa now. So I want to give a big shout out to Ashley in Africa, for uh, promoting Africa and promoting doing business in Africa, right? And promoting family life in Africa. So big shout out to Ashley in Africa. We got Sister Susan Tata of the Pan-African Daily TV, right? Thank you, Susan. Sister Susan Tata, she's doing her job. She does her thing, right? She always has the elders on. Dr. James Small, our other brother, gosh, I can't think of his name, I think he's from Zimbabwe, I think it is, but another elder, another brother who's all wise and be laying down, bringing us the knowledge. Okay, so thank you, Sister Susan Tata, Pan African Daily TV. Okay, then we got Dr. Bumi Oyenan. She has the channel, the Sankofa series, right? So she's always over there dropping them gems as well on African history, right? Putting it down. So visit Dr. Bumi Oyenan's channel, the Sankofa series, right? Thank you, Doctor. And then we got Mickey of the second half of the Unapologetic Nomads, right? Her and her family. They were here they were there. I'm saying here, they were there on the continent. I wish I was there. I miss Africa. They were there on the continent for a long time, but now they're in the Middle East. I think they're in Abu Dhabi right now, right? But they still shouting out the African family and still doing their thing. So big shout out to Mickey, right? And all of the great publicity that you all gave Africa while you were here, okay? Also, we got two other sisters who are breaking things down with their hubbies, right? With their mates. We got the sister on the Real South Africa, as well as the sister on Expat Life Ghana, right? They are keeping it in the family, and they are doing the work, like I say, with their second half to bring Africa to the world for real, okay? So, I am Marie Ya Jouf, also a Black lady, right? And I just want to, again, thank you for watching, right? Thank you for engaging with the channel. I really appreciate it. And I just want to remind you, right, to fight the power, okay? And also, like I said in the beginning, let's stop allowing petty differences and things that have happened to us in the past bring division between us as men, Black men and women, right? Because we need each other. We need to stick together, right? We need to be together so that we can nurture our families, nurture our community, right? And continue to fight as a strong, united force for our liberation going forward, right? We were both damaged physically and psychologically during enslavement and colonialism, right? No one got a better deal than the other. So we need to quit with that foolishness, right? Because we both got a raw deal, and we still both get a raw deal, right? A lot of Black women, we have it tough on these jobs. I don't know how it is in Africa, but I know that there's issues with gender in Africa, right? But, and I know that a lot of Black men here in America, they feel like they are public enemy number one, which, they are. But so are the women, but in a different way, right? But we can't let them divide us, right? That's why, I can't really say that I am a feminist, okay? And please, women, ladies, don't take that wrong. I am a feminist in the sense that I want women to be treated equally and be treated fairly. And I don't ride with, you know, the oppression of Black women, right? Or the um the exploitation of Black women, right? Or violence against Black women. All of that is, you know, for naught. And, you know, I don't agree with none of that, okay? But I also always felt like, you know, that I really didn't have the luxury to be a feminist, right? Because we suffer so much um uh just as a collective race of people, right? And then again, like I say, I know that there is a lot of abuse of women, you know, that actually come from within our own community. But I just hope, I hope one day, right, that that's just not the case, right? And my heart goes out to any woman that finds herself in that situation, right? You should not allow yourself to be in an abusive situation. If that's it's the situation that you are in, if you can get out by any means necessary, then you get out. And I'm quite sure that any man who is worth his weight in gold, he believes the same thing. He is not down for anybody abusing women, right? But so again, I just wanted to say that, right? Happy Women's History Month. And again, hopefully I'll see you next time on the next video, right? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Of course, subscribe to the channel, right? And hit the notification button so that you can see, you will be the first to be notified when the next video comes up. Okay, I will see you next time, and peace.